as right before we got on, you said this is a similar read to the Spurs last night. That one didn't necessarily work out. Talk to me why you're going back to the well in a similar spot here for the Blazers.
Yeah, the Spurs game was actually interesting. If you got it right at tip off, they were plus 3.5. So it did work out for those who got the Spurs late. I got them at plus 3, so I pushed there. But yeah, this is a tough spot for the Utah Jazz. They're actually playing right now as we record. They're playing the Knicks, playing really well. Most likely going to get that win against a really good defense with New York there. They got to travel on the road, go to Portland tonight, so they'll get in 3, 4 in the morning. Portland's been resting. I know they're a bad team. We looked this up. The three of us looked it up. This is the first game all season long the Portland Trailblazers are going to be favored. It's a small favorite, which I hate in general, but I think this is a good spot. I'm just going to trust it. The Blazers have been playing better, and specifically Scoot has been playing a little bit better in the last week or two. So give me the Blazers minus 1.5.
And Jay, you said you lean that spot. Talk to me about why you were looking at that spot. We talked about it. Overall, it's a tough slate. You couldn't get to an official on anything, but why do you lean Blazers?
Yeah, I do lean their way. They did beat them earlier this season in Portland, 121-105. They lost a few games ago, like 4 games ago in Utah, but still was able to keep that game really close. They ended up losing by 5, 118 to 113, but it ended up going to overtime. So that shows me that maybe they just played the Jazz really tough. We know that the Jazz aren't the greatest team on the road as well in this one, man. So the Jazz are 1-11 straight up away from the house. That's why the Blazers are favored here, and obviously because because the Jazz are on the back-to-back as well. But the Blazers were just covering some spreads, man. 6-2 against the spread last 8 games. They just took the Clippers to the brink and damn near really could have won that game. You know what I'm saying? So as long as the Blazers play like that, they should win this game. Be really nice. I'll tell you this: if Brogdon and Aiden are in there, I'll definitely be sprinkling some on the Blazers there. It's just right now it's a lot of unknowns. Y'all know how they play with us to the last minute with who's going to play, with who's in or out. But I think the Blazers, they have the race advantage. They're at the house. They've been playing a lot better basketball. I'm expecting them to come out here with the win.
Yeah, not only that, Sean, I spoke specifically about Utah being a bad spot for Utah because it's the second night back-to-back. They're traveling. They're going to win tonight. But it's also a good spot regression to the win for Portland, right? They've lost 4 straight. Prior to that, they won 3 of 4. So they're kind of like that ping pong team right now. Like if they start winning, they might get 3, 4, 5 in a row. They start losing, they might get 3, 4, or 5 losses in a row. And I think this is where they turn and get a small win streak going on.
Yeah, Lauri Markkanen back in the fold. He's playing well against the Knicks as we record this, 23 points off 7 of 13. And like Jay alluded to, the Jazz at the house are extremely tough. 8-3 against the spread. They're a different team when they're playing in Salt Lake City. Against the spread on the road, though, 3-8, 8-10 as an underdog against the spread, and they will be a small underdog in this spot. It's all automatically for me worth a look when they're the favorite. Someone's trying to tell you that this is a reason why this team is going to get favored for the first time all year. That already is got the sharp tingling senses kind of leaning that way purely on the fact that they're going to make those guys a favorite. Now, Markkanen, depending on how many minutes he finishes with tonight, we'll see how many he goes on a back-to-back coming off of that hamstring injury. I actually thought it was interesting that Markkanen went on the front end of a back-to-back because it was the plan to – he's good to go now. He's back rolling. They're going to play him 2 straight nights on a soft tissue injury. So I thought that was interesting. Let's see where Markkanen lands on the injury report as well. But when you
honestly – Sean,
go ahead, Jay.
I just want to cut in real quick. One of the points why I was leaning towards Blazers because I'm not expecting Markkanen to play in this game. Usually when you come back from like a soft tissue injury, like a hamstring or groin or something like that, and you play the night before and you have to travel, usually they go ahead and sit those guys out, especially if they've missed 5 or 6 games, knowing that their conditioning isn't there. So he will be limited tonight, like on versus the Knicks, to 20 to 25 minutes. But I'm still expecting him not to play in this game.
And Sean, you mentioned like you were surprised that he played this game against the Knicks against a good defense. I mean, he's at home, right? He didn't have to travel. He's been comfortable in his bed now for the last week, getting treatment for the last week, and he didn't have to go on the road for it. So it made sense for me that he chose this game. Let's say, let's say out of the 2 games, there's going to be one he plays and one he sits. it makes sense that he plays the one at home.
Yeah, it's a depending on how you look at it, it is an interesting spot for him to come back. But he is back. He's going to finish the game with around 25 minutes here, 26 minutes versus the Knicks. And also to correct myself, the Jazz are 10-8 to the over as an underdog. Straight up on the money line as an underdog, the Jazz are 4-14 this year in the NBA. Let's see how that game shakes. That's an interesting spot. Trailblazers jumping off as a favorite on the sheet is always going to be something that catches my attention, and we'll see if they can actually get their first win as a favorite.